made me so happy that I had feelings when he died. And it makes you appreciate your ability to see. In the end, all I really have to say about it is it's great. Hi guys, welcome back to another Nerd Rants video. Today we're going to be talking about a movie that I watched last weekend with my boyfriend called Birdbox. This is a Netflix original horror thriller movie, and it's absolutely fantastic. I love it. It's so cool. We have this concept of it's monsters, entities, whatever they are, that when you look at them, they make you kill yourself. So yeah, that's just a real fun thing. Gives me Smile vibes, except a lot more immediate. But it's so great. Because you go through this and you have no idea what these creatures look like, because it's different for everyone. And if you look at them, they make you kill yourself. So they make a point of not showing any of this. You just get silhouettes or whatever. Yeah, I think you pretty much just get to see silhouettes, or there's a lot of like wind picks up when they're nearby, and then you'll hear them sometimes, and they speak in the voices of the people that you love or fear or something. And it's really great having this subjective entity that it knows exactly what to show you to get in your head. And once it's in your head, you're done for. And it's so great. Psychological stuff. Things that in your mind, that control your mind, that pull at your fears. I love it. I love it. I'm just, I'm a strange little lady. I'm something. Let's just say that. I'm a writer. That's a better way to put it. I'm a writer. Oh man, but it was so good. If Sandra Bullock as the main character. And we flash back and forth between present day, her traveling with these two like 5-year-old kids, and then 5 years earlier when these creatures showed up and this whole apocalyptic event started. And it's great. It's great because we start the movie and she's telling them, you need to do exactly what I say. Do not take your blindfold off or you are dead. And being super, super stern with them, and not necessarily that mother-like, which makes sense for her character as you get to know her character, but just being super stern and super harsh with them. And then they start down the river, and then shortly after that, it flashes back to 5 years earlier, and we get to see how this mass chaos starts and people figuring out a little bit, or the people that she's harboring her in this house with, figuring out, if you look at them, that's why you kill yourself, boarding up windows, finding ways to survive. And it's just such a cool movie, and it's a great, like, the creatures and how they are designed and fabricated just work really well with this thriller genre, because not being able to see them makes it scarier, and realizing how it's subjective and different for everyone, it makes it scarier, because we all probably, like, watching this movie, could all probably think of something that it could show up as, like a regret or a fear or a lost loved one or whatever. And we could all think of something that it could appear to us as, which is just horrifying, because it makes it more personal when you're watching it. I was so enthralled in the movie, I honestly didn't have anything immediately pop into my head. I'm sure I could think of something that the creatures could appear to me as, but honestly, I'm just so into it that it's not where my brain was at. But yeah, looking back at it, yeah, it's very much it's such a good movie. And it makes you appreciate your ability to see, because you get a lot of scenes where we flash to them from the main character's perspective. She's wearing a blindfold, and so we just get to see kind of this sort of lit up fabric, and yeah, it's cool. We also get the aspect of the people who didn't kill them. They managed not to kill themselves when they saw a creature, but they just went absolutely nuts and almost like weird cultist zealots or something. They saw them, went, they're going to cleanse the earth. Everyone needs to see. And so they go around trying to, if they're traveling on the road, rip people's blindfolds off, or go into bases, smash windows and whatever else, so that they can't hide from the creatures. And it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. We get the backstory of how Sandra Bullock's character ends up alone with the two kids, and a lot of the characters, it's like, whatever, they die, it's sad, but you know, whatever. And then the last guy, who is basically the dad of, because she and this guy and then the two kids are the only ones that survive past a couple months to it's probably only like a couple months, and then they survive for 5 years together with these two kids. And it's just, his death was sad. His death was really, really sad. Which is great, because I haven't watched a lot of movies recently. Well, that's maybe not a lot of movies, but I feel like I haven't gotten into a show or a movie or whatever where a character's death has really hit me. Which is really sad, because I'm so into movies and books and stories, and being able to connect with these characters and feel for the characters that survive and had to watch them die, or feel sad about the character dying and losing that aspect of the story and what they brought to the table. I love that. And all bookworms understand this feeling. We enjoy, as much as sad as it makes us, we love it, because it's this connection that we've made with the character and with the story, and it's something that we can only really get from books, and so it's just, I love it. And it made me so happy that I had feelings when he died. Oh, that sounds so weird. Non-bookworms, non-movie nerds, people who don't think the same way that I do, it probably makes no sense to you. But yeah, I like having feelings about fictional stories. It's great. But yes, this movie's so fantastic, and the child actors are actually pretty good. I know it's very hard to find good child actors because they're children, and so there's only a certain level that they can actually go to, but these kids did pretty good. They did have minimal lines and things that they actually had to do, but they did good. And the little girl's voice was so cute. Every time she talked, it was adorable, because she couldn't pronounce the L's right, and the main character's name is Mallory, and so it came out like Maori, and it was adorable. I melted every time she said something because it was so cute. I also work with children, so kids just hit me right in the feels. Oh man, they're so good. So good. Oh, it's also interesting throughout the entire movie, the kids, there's a boy and a girl, and they don't actually have names. She just calls them boy and girl because there's no other kids around, so she's not going to confuse them. And she's essentially, I think, not letting herself get attached to these kids because she's terrified. She's expecting them not to make it, and eventually they're gonna die. And she's come to accept that over these 5 years, and so she's put up a wall for herself. So she's like not necessarily the best mom. She hasn't given them names, and it seems to be all in an effort so that she doesn't get attached to them, so that when they go, which like she's expecting them to, she has hopefully less emotions to deal with. So it's very good. It's so good. And they're also journeying to they got a transmission saying that there was a safe house, essentially a safe place to go, and that's where Sandra and that's where Mallory and the kids are going. Now we're gonna get into a little bit more spoilers because, I can't do this without spoiling stuff because I just love the ending. I love what the base turns out being. Because you go into this thinking, oh, it's like some sort of military compound or whatever, because over the transmission and as they're talking about it being a compound and like walls and whatever else, and that's all you get. And so the expectation going throughout this is it's some sort of military compound, and it's been made secure, and they're very strict security, and so they don't allow people who could be infected, I guess. I don't know what kind of word to use. Allow them in, and so they're surviving. And it ends up being so much cooler because they get there and it's a school for the blind. It's great. And so it's full of all these blind people who can't see, and so they're immune to these creatures. And then there's also a few sighted people, and throughout this whole thing, this concept, the reason it's called Birdbox is because birds can sense when the creatures are around, or when people who have seen the creatures, I think, are around. And so they freak out when someone like that is around, and it's an early warning sign. And so this school for the blind has this little courtyard with this leafy, viney canopy, and it's just full of birds, so that the people who can see are warned when the creatures come around. And it's so good. This movie is fantastic, and I love it. And it's nice because it actually has a happy ending. And a lot of times with thrillers or whatever else, they end it on not necessarily a happy note, which just makes it feel unfinished or sad, just sad. And so having this cool thriller, horror movie, whatever, and it ends with them finding sanctuary and have this finality of it's okay, you have a real chance to survive here, is fantastic. Because even some of the ones that have a happy ending, there's just this feeling that it's not gonna last. And so it really doesn't feel finished. Whereas this, it feels like it's concluding and there's a chance and they will survive. They're gonna make it, at least for a while. And it gives you that feeling of they're gonna live a life. There's a chance that they will survive this. And it's fantastic, and it's just such a great feeling. And you just see it on Mallory's face as it's this ending scene, and it's zooming in on her watching all of the kids that she has now given names because they made it there, and she's looking at them, and this doctor that she knew before the whole thing started asks what their names are, and they're just like, we don't know, we're boy and girl. And she gives them a name. She gives them names, which I called exactly what the names were going to be, essentially, from the beginning. But yeah, you just see it on her face, this feeling of relief and of like finality, essentially, and it's just so good. It's so great. It's so freaking great. I can't. That's essentially all I have to say. Like, I can explain all of these different things and to do all these spoilers, but in the end, all I really have to say about it is it's great. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Birdbox. It is very much up there with some of my favorite movies. It's so good. So if you haven't watched it, I'm impressed I did very minimal spoilers, I feel like. So go watch that, seriously. If you're okay with thriller movies, because it's definitely more thriller than horror, if you are into or are willing to watch thriller movies, go 100% go watch this. It's so good. So good. But yeah, drop your thoughts in the comments if you watched this movie too. Let me know what you thought of it. You could also post requests in there for songs, movie, books, whatever. I post videos every Wednesday and Saturday, and I'll see you all next time.